and an owl butterfly caterpillar lock horns. There's no happily ever after. The jungle underworld is full of bizarre beasts. With its forked tail, spiked back, and hairy horns, the owl butterfly caterpillar is like a mythical creature.
It just looks like some kind of weird snake or slug, and its entire existence revolves around one thing: eating, and eating a lot.
While gorging on leaves, it must avoid becoming a banquet for something else. Its main defense is its terrifying appearance.
If a predator comes along, he'll do everything he can to look more like a viper than a caterpillar. Puff himself up, act strangely, pull threatening poses, even swipe with his horns.
The horns are hard and can be used like antlers in battle. And the owl butterfly caterpillar's mandibles can do more than mulch.
Push comes to shove, he will use them to try to fend off an aggressor.
The owl butterfly caterpillar isn't the only horned beast on the prowl. With its distinctive crowning glory, the horned katydid resembles the fabled unicorn.
The horned katydids have this weird projection coming out just behind their eyes. They may look cute, but these are predatory katydids.
The horned katydid is a ruthless assassin, able to hide in plain sight.
Often they'll look like just this perfect green leaf. Even the veins in their wings look like the veins in a leaf. Potential prey may be walking along and they don't notice that this leaf, in fact, is a predator, and that's to their peril.
The horn is there to intimidate. But the real danger are these mandibles. Sharp enough to skewer heavily armored opponents. Then spiked legs, vicious enough to rip through a predatory bat's wings. It's a foe that's as lethal as it is mean.
They're serious predators that attack animals and eat them alive. These spiny forelegs are used kind of like a cage. The spines keep the prey close to the katydid, and then it's able to bite it and tear it into pieces.
This killer doesn't wait for its prey to die. It's just meat and eat. But what happens when the katydid locks horns with the owl butterfly caterpillar? It's the dead of night in the jungle. A horned katydid is looking for fresh meat. On a nearby leaf, an owl butterfly caterpillar is also out to feed. The katydid's antennae lock on. It will attack with bolt-cutter mouthparts and thorny limbs. The owl butterfly caterpillar will retaliate with its spiked horns and bristling tail. Who will inflict the mortal blow? The two opponents go head-to-head. The owl butterfly caterpillar tries to psych out its opponent with a bizarre defensive dance. The katydid is momentarily stunned. It wasn't expecting a show.
The whole point of wiggling about like a snake is to send out a fake but believable signal that I'm toxic, I will bite you, leave me alone.
The Katydid cuts the caterpillar's performance short with a surgical strike. Bravely, the caterpillar tries to twist free. It lashes with its forked tail, desperately trying to get in a bite. Soft tissue splits like the skin of a sausage, spilling the remains of the caterpillar's last meal. This big bad bug never eats its greens.
Often what they'll do is they'll pull the guts out to avoid the nasty chemicals that are in the plant that the caterpillar ate, and they're able to eat the relatively succulent caterpillar itself.
Even disemboweled, the caterpillar tries to bite its attacker. In the end, the owl butterfly caterpillar achieves a sort of metamorphosis. A gruesome transformation from potential butterfly to unrecognizable meat. When a velvet worm tangles with a harvestman, it's all-out chemical warfare. On the moist forest floor, an ancient hunter stalks its prey as it's done for 500 million years. The velvet worm is an all-terrain terror, flowing across uneven ground on hydraulic legs. Each one is tipped with a retractable claw for better grip. Tiny bumps on the body, called papillae, repel water, keeping the worm dry as it navigates its wet, humid world.
Each of the wart-like bumps on its body has a bristle at the tip that acts as a mechanoreceptive sensor. What this means is that the velvet worm is constantly monitoring its environment with its skin.
It looks harmless enough, but the only soft thing about the velvet worm is its name.
They're voracious predators. Velvet worms can grow up to 4 inches, and they can capture animals right up to their own size. This puts a very large amount of different creatures on their menu list.
With a top speed of less than 2 inches per second, it's not able to chase down a meal. But who needs speed when you possess one of the bug world's strangest and most effective long-range weapons? On either side of its head, modified legs called oral tubes fire twin jets of viscous slime. Caught in the sticky blast, the target is immobilized by biological glue.
This slime straitjacket is about 90% water. But as the water evaporates, proteins in the slime start to tangle and form tight chemical bonds. This becomes stringier, stickier, and harder by the second. This is such a cunning natural design.
The velvet worm isn't the only wily fighter in the forest. The harvestman also has a few tricks up its very long sleeves.
You'd think to look at a harvestman that it's a spider, but these guys aren't spiders at all. They don't have venom, they don't have a sting, they don't produce silk. Harvestmen are pretty much characterized by legs.
Those long limbs give it critical clearance in a close fight. And its spiky exoskeleton makes it a tough foe to tackle. And when it comes to victims, the harvestman isn't fussy. Spiked feelers called pedipalps grab and hold the prey, while claw-like mouthparts rip and tear at the flesh. And when under attack, the harvestman wields its own chemical weapon.
The way many harvestmen defend themselves is with stinky glandular secretions that can spray or ooze onto the predator.
When these chemical combatants collide, it's stealth and stickiness versus stench on stilts. In the Central American rainforest, a velvet worm hunts for prey. Close by, a long-legged harvestman is also prowling for food. Neither will back down. The velvet worm has slime guns and razor-sharp mouthparts. The harvestman boasts claw-like mandibles and a foul defensive spray. Which one will live to fight another day?
This contest is between two very different approaches to survival. Strong offense versus strong defense, heavy weapons versus heavy armor.
With the worm in its sights, the harvestman moves in for the kill.
I think the harvestman has lots and lots of advantages, but it's got to get in close.
But it's too close. The worm gives it both barrels at point-blank range. The harvestman struggles, but thrashing only tightens its slimy bonds. It's the glue from hell.
Now that's what I call chemical warfare. It may go everywhere. Half of it may miss the target, but wow. That is a prey capture technique that's impossible to upstage and very difficult to escape.
The harvestman is in serious trouble.
All it can do at this point is back off and see if it can groom the glue off. But it's nasty.
With its victim pinned and defenseless, the velvet worm switches to safecracker mode, looking for a way into its meal. Like hellish cookie cutters, the powerful mandibles start sawing through the harvestman's armor. Eventually, the worm injects its toxic saliva.
The saliva that the velvet worm is injecting contains mucus and also hydrolytic digestive enzymes that are pre-digesting the food outside of its body, so all it has to do now is sit back and suck it up.
Things don't always turn out the way you'd expect in the bug realm. You can have all the weapons in the world, but slow and sticky often wins the race. When a Vinegaroon and a striped-tailed centipede come to the surface, all hell will break loose. The rainforest is riddled with entrances to the underworld. From one dark gash, like some mythical monster, comes a striped-tailed centipede. Every night, it leaves its subterranean lair on a mission to murder. A hyperactive hunter plowing through the forest on 22 pairs of legs.
You'd think that they'd be getting tripped up all the time, but with each one longer than the previous, they never get tangled.
The centipede's speed and mobility are even more impressive when you realize it's almost blind. Its antennae act like all-seeing eyes. Beneath the antennae, on either side of the head, the main strike weapons, 2 modified legs, have become venom claws that deliver a toxic shock. Perched high on a leaf, a grasshopper thinks it's out of harm's way. But the striped-tailed express is hot on its chemical trail and severs a hind leg.
Now that's poor defense. The grasshopper really should have jumped clear while it had a chance, because now when the centipede comes back, it's not going to have a leg to stand on.
The venom claws now serve as silverware, pulling soft flesh from the exoskeleton. Like a discerning diner ripping meat from a lobster tail. Nearby, another denizen of the dark emerges, hungry for blood. With its heavy armor and creeping crab-like walk, the Vinegaroon is a primeval nightmare.
Vinegaroons are like B-grade movie idols. I mean, they're just really scary, monster-looking animals.
Massive pedipalps, ending in crude pincers, grab prey in a merciless embrace, then crush it against serrated armor plates. Like all arachnids, the Vinegaroon has 8 legs, but only 6 are used for walking. The first 2 are sensors that the Vinegaroon taps around like a blind person's cane. Its heavy armor is enough to deter most predators. If that doesn't work, the Vinegaroon mounts a reeking rearguard action.
They've got a gland at the base of their tail that is capable of spraying what's essentially vinegar as much as 3 feet away. They're able to move their tail around, aim it toward the predator, and then spray this mix of acetic acid and caprylic acid. It breaks down an invertebrate's exoskeleton.
But will the Vinegaroon's heavy weapons be enough to defeat the striped-tailed centipede when it attacks head-on? In the dead of night, the rainforest is haunted by underworld demons. A voracious, striped-tailed centipede follows a trail to its next meal. Meanwhile, a Vinegaroon waits for its dinner to arrive. The centipede attacks with spiny feet and razor-sharp venom claws. The Vinegaroon wields giant club-like pedipalps, spiked pincers, and serrated plates. Who'll survive the battle of the night terrors? The centipede charges in like a hungry locomotive. But the Vinegaroon grabs first. The centipede lashes its body around. Venom claws looking for a way in.
This centipede is tough, but this Vinegaroon has it in a really, really tight grip in the pedipalps. It's almost like being caught in a nutcracker.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Even if the centipede manages to get away, he's going to have a terminal headache, and I don't think he's going to get very far.
The centipede's legs kick feebly as claw-like chelicerae tear into its neck, almost severing the head. Regurgitated digestive juices flood the wound, transforming solid flesh into centipede soup.
So it seems that the old adage of live by the sword, die by the sword is just as applicable to the bug world as anywhere else.
The Vinegaroon savors its victory, ferrying its dead foe back to the underworld to feast in peace. When a black jungle stalker and a black-faced katydid go head-to-head, dark forces will be unleashed. The rainforest floor is choked with debris. It should be easy to hide in the shadows. But in the bug world, even the shadows can kill.
Stalkers give everyone the creeps, and the black jungle stalker is creepy enough to ruin any picnic. It prowls around, stops, and just watches from the shadows, absolutely motionless. The first thing its prey are likely to see is a face full of fangs.
Then again, the attack is so quick, so violent. The victim never knows what hit it. The secret to the spider's incredible athleticism lies in its long, tapered legs. They're hydraulically operated. A system of valves controls the flow of blood into each limb. When the valve fully opens, the sudden surge pumps the leg up, ready for takeoff.
This is a spider that can really hurl itself into the air when it goes for a strike. So it can even give low-flying insects a good reason to reconsider their altitude.
The black stalker's sleek body is covered with fine hairs. Some on its long limbs act as super-sensitive motion detectors that react to the slightest change in even a breath of air.
Those long sensory hairs on the spider's legs are so sensitive they can even detect when an insect flaps its wings.
The black jungle stalker isn't the only stealthy killer on the forest floor. A terrifying face looms out of the dark with its hideous tooth-like grin and homicidal stare. The black-faced katydid is a stone-cold psychopath.
These katydids have black war paint on their faces. It camouflages them so they look less distinctively like a katydid and instead blend into the background more.
This mobile medieval torture chamber is always ready to rumble. No executioner's word was ever sharp as the blackface's fierce mandibles and its powerful legs and wings are not only superbly camouflaged, they get it out of trouble fast. But what happens when the psychopath and the stalker meet at close quarters? In the rainforest leaf litter, two warriors prepare to engage in mortal combat. The black jungle stalker is poised to strike. This killer has large fangs and paralyzing venom. The katydid counters with sawtooth limbs and razor-sharp mandibles. Which combination has the winning edge?
In this battle, it really comes down to whoever's fastest, whoever has the best angle, whoever has the speed at the last minute, maybe even who starts first. But we're down to it.
With its antennae probing, the blackface goes on the offensive. The jungle stalker doesn't demur. It reaches forward. The katydid darts off to rethink its battle plan. It decides to attack again from the side. But with its hydraulic legs, this spider can move any which way. Huge fangs puncture the katydid's protective armor. The black face bites and kicks, but the stalker's fangs are deep and trigger a ticking time bomb.
At this point, the clock is at 2 minutes to midnight, but the spider still has to be extremely careful of the katydid's spiked legs and mandibles, because if it gets even the slightest chance to use them, it will, even as it draws its final breath.
Keeping the katydid's limbs out of harm's way, the stalker maintains its steely grip. The kicks become feeble, and the maniacal grin becomes a death rictus.
This is an enormous kill for the black jungle stalker. It's the equivalent of a lion bringing down a zebra single-handedly. This is one mighty hunter.
The black jungle stalker feasts. When it's had its fill, the leftovers furnish a second banquet for the bugs of tomorrow. When a banana spider clashes with an orange-horned katydid, it's a battle to die for. There are many femme fatales in the rainforest, but the orange-horned katydid is the ultimate mean girl.
This is a body-slamming, take no prisoners, bite your head off type. And trust me, when she's in a fighting mood, you don't want to mess with her.
A sit-and-wait predator. Very little escapes this consummate murderess.
Those huge compound eyes give the katydid very good vision. And the long antennae allow her to feel and sense prey from a great distance. So another predator would have to mount a surprise attack in order to have any kind of competitive advantage.
Tangling with this bug is a daunting prospect. She's armed to the teeth. Savagely spiked back legs are spring-loaded weapons that deliver a lethal kick or launch her out of danger in a single bound.
These muscular hind limbs allow a katydid to jump up to 20 times its body length. Now, even a human Olympic world record long jumper can jump a distance maybe 5 times his body length. So this insect makes our most stellar athlete look pathetic by comparison.
This hapless cricket could kick itself, or straying into the katydid's murderous clutches.
The only type of hugs that the orange-horned katydid gives are fatal ones. She wraps them up with the spiked arms, piercing them with the spines, and then goes in for some hardcore mouth action from which they will never recover.
2 sets of feelers help her work out the size and shape of her meal. Wickedly sharp mandibles with hardened black tips mangle the cricket's soft tissue. With her belly full, the leftovers are discarded like yesterday's lunch. The orange-horned katydid isn't the only ruthless female in this forest. With a sleek body, slender tapered legs, and attractive markings, the female banana spider is a bug world beauty queen. She rules her world ruthlessly, from her webs that she weaves with spun gold. Concealed in her golden castle, the deadly queen waits for her victims to come by.
A prey item has come in, she feels the vibrations, and she rushes down to grab it.
With her victim trapped, the banana spider shows her true colors, and it's not a pretty sight. Behind hairy feelers, known as pedipalps, are large curved fangs that inject powerful venom, then tear the prey apart. A tiny leaf hopper is just a snack. Next time, the beauty queen will be looking to supersize her meal. But not all of the banana spider's conquests are disposed of so easily. The orange-horned katydid has wings. What happens when the ultimate mean girl is on a collision course with a high-wire huntress? In the moonlit jungle, a banana spider sits patiently in a silken death trap, waiting to welcome her next victim. Not far away, a female orange-horned katydid loiters with murderous intent. Two female killers at the top of their game are about to do battle. Dripping with toxic venom, the banana spider's fangs can take out any prey. But the orange-horned katydid's spiky limbs and razor-sharp mandibles could easily cut her enemy clean in half. Keen for a kill, the orange-horned katydid launches straight into danger. The banana spider approaches with caution.
She's tapping that katydid with her front leg to see whether the katydid has much give. Is it able to get loose?
The katydid pokes back, but the beauty queen now has her opponent in her sights.
As long as the katydid can hold the spider's fangs at bay, it has some chance of surviving this. But defending yourself while being tangled in strong and sticky silk is a pretty tall order.
The katydid struggles to escape, but finds itself deeper in the web. The banana spider seizes its chance. Sharp fangs pierce the katydid's abdomen, delivering their toxic payload. Even as the venom shuts down her nervous system, the orange-horned katydid tries to bite through the silken trap. The beauty queen approaches again. The katydid isn't giving up. She fights furiously.
This is a great example of how deeply entrenched the will to survive is with these animals. She just keeps on fighting, no matter how bad the odds.
Eventually, the katydid's struggles grow feeble. The web weaver delivers the death blow. It's been a titanic battle. The beauty queen wraps the spoils and begins her long victory feast. She doesn't bother with regal table manners. Digestive enzymes break down the katydid's body, turning soft tissue into a protein shake. In the bug world, beauty queens don't get their kudos from crowning ceremonies. They get their kicks when their rivals are trash on the forest floor. When a geophyllid centipede grapples with a Costa Rican cellar spider, it's silky skills versus straight-up savagery. The rainforests of Central America are rife with skilled killers. But when it comes to speed and aggression, the geophyllid centipede is in a class of its own.
If you shrunk a freight train down to just a few inches and gave it 152 legs and a hyperactive and aggressive attitude and a pair of venom claws, you would end up with a geophyllid centipede. The only thing guaranteed to slow this guy down is death.
Swift and sure-footed, as flexible as a yoga master, this restless hunter can handle not just rough terrain, but in some cases, no terrain, flowing across crevices like its own rope bridge on 76 pairs of legs. Each body segment is protected top and bottom by armored plates. At the rear, a pair of anal legs mimics the centipede's antennae, so predators aren't sure which is the dangerous end. When it tracks down prey, those legs become multiple weapons of war.
The instant he makes contact with the prey, he wraps as many legs around it as he can and just ties it up. Each one of these legs is tipped with a very sharp claw, so this is like trying to wrestle a snake that's inside of a barbed wire suit.
With the victim pinned, the centipede puts its venom claws to work, injecting a lethal chemical brew.
Most centipede venoms contain a chemical called 5-hydroxytryptamine, which is the neurotransmitter that we call serotonin. This not only produces pain in the prey, but also increases the absorption of other toxins that break down the cell walls and the tissue.
What the venom doesn't do, the vicious claws finish off. The centipede starts tunneling through the katydid and devours its victim from the inside, right up to the eyeballs. All that's left is a shell, discarded like an empty glove. Nearby, another ruthless hunter is setting her trap. Looking delicate, even frail, the Costa Rican cellar spider is deceptively deadly.
Cellar spiders look so delicate, but actually they're really quite tough predators.
For this web warrior, being neat isn't a high priority.
The cellar spiders build a fairly messy web. They hang upside down in this web, and then they may have lines going down to the ground that are relatively sticky.
When a bug blunders into her gossamer curtain, those extra long, thin legs start throwing silk thread in a rapid-fire frenzy of wrapping.
When the cellar spider wraps its prey, it isn't putting out big swaths of silk the way some of the other spiders do. They're essentially just putting out a single line, but they do it extraordinarily fast, and so they can really wrap up and do it fast.
But the female cellar spider is about to receive another visitor. The geophyllid centipede is on its way. What happens when the silk stalker is struck by a runaway train?
Anyone who thinks cellar spiders are harmless doesn't know they're spiders. The centipede could be hog-tied in an instant, and then the only way he could break free would be brute force.
In a Central American rainforest, a hungry Costa Rican cellar spider is desperate to feed. A geophyllid centipede is a potential smorgasbord, but it could also make a meal of her. The cellar spider smothers her enemy with silk before delivering a venomous bite. The geophyllid centipede uses claw-tipped legs to grip its foe, and venom claws to inject a toxic chemical cocktail. With customary bravado, the centipede hurtles onto the web.
That many feet, the odds of getting tangled up are enormous. If he doesn't break free quickly, the web owner will come down and scope him out.
The cellar spider reacts instantly, lassoing the intruder with strand after strand of sticky silk.
The first thing the centipede would normally do when being overwhelmed by a threat is head for the nearest crevice at high speed. But that's clearly impossible to do when you're being wound up with thread after thread of super sticky spider silk.
The trapped centipede lashes about like a demented garden hose, trying to score a direct hit with its deadly venom claws. But the spider is always just out of range.
This is where silk wrapping with these incredibly long legs comes in handy. She cannot get too close to that centipede. The way she is wrapping is amazing. Look at how fast this is.
The cellar spider goes into overdrive. Her legs are a blur as she throws silk at a rate of 6 loops per second. But the centipede is just as quick to break the ties that bind.
This is an epic fight back. If he can get those venom claws into the spider, just one bite would be enough to turn this fight upside down.
The spider sneaks in several bites, but her venom is relatively weak and slow-acting. But eventually, with her victim's head pinned and its body twisted like a pretzel, the spider seems to have won. But like a horror movie monster, the centipede suddenly breaks free once more.
This is amazingly risky business with this centipede getting its head free all of the time. She's putting out an enormous amount of silk. At some point, she's going to run out of the silk that she has available.
Her silk stores are used up. The spider is throwing thin air, and the centipede's head is still free. In desperation, she dispenses her few remaining drops of venom.
The centipede may have finally succumbed, but talk about combat endurance. He made the spider use every last inch of its silk, every last drop of its venom, and every last bit of its energy. He won't be remembered as a wimp.
It's been an epic battle. Now, the epic feast. The cellar spider spews digestive juices into the centipede's body and sucks up the liquefied flesh.
Okay, I know it's dead, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this centipede spring back into action one last time.